Subnautica, your classic adventure survival game with a twist. Water. I love this game. It gives me nightmares every time I play it, but it really hits home with the stranded on an alien planet with literally no one else around feel, if you know what I mean. Originally released in 2014 for PC, it has since sold more than 6 million copies worldwide and has become one of the most popular games in the world. As in every other game, the world is pretty much the one defining aspect of Subnautica. With 39 different biomes, that makes 39 different and unique areas to explore. With depths ranging from 2 on-land islands to 1500 meters below sea level, or 8000 meters if you want to get technical, you're going to be here for a while. Probably the most noticeable place on the whole map, however, is the Aurora, the giant spaceship that you crash landed in the first place. And when I say giant, I mean giant. Bigger than both of the islands combined. It will probably be the first early to mid-game stop for an average player. On a different note, some would say that Subnautica is also a horror game, but they would be wrong. Horror is the fright and jump scare you feel after seeing or hearing something scary, which does come into play in this game. But a more accurate representation of the game would be terrifying, not horrifying. Terror is a feeling of dread or fear by knowing that you can or will be scared, and that is exactly what the world of Subnautica instills in you. Sure, it's all happy and sunny up in the safe shallows, but a journey into the crash zone during sunset and hearing the distant yet ominous roar from the literal creatures from the deep is something that no other game can even get close to. And don't even get me started on the Void, a sheer 8,000 meter drop into the abyss, with the only things that you can see is the giant, bioluminescent creatures fighting each other for who gets to eat you first. Probably the most terrifying aspect of the whole game, helped along by the environment you find them in. You have the peeper and bladderfish, normal and passive creatures that you can turn into food and water. You have the bone shark and the lava lizard, both aggressive carnivores that will try and take bites out of you if you're not careful, but separated by 1400 meters of water and rocks. Next, you have the sea treaders and reefbacks. Both are considered Leviathan class organisms, yet are completely passive and will have no reaction to you swimming or climbing around them, and can actually provide you with some useful resources. But last, and certainly not least, you have the real Leviathan class. The Reaper, a red and white, eel-like creature with mandibles large enough to grab you and pull you into its gaping, tooth-filled mouth. The Ghost Leviathan, the transparent, hammerhead-like worm that leaves an odd, misty substance behind it as it moves. Only liking deep, dark water or caves. These are the things that you will find if you venture too far out into the void, or try and gain access to the Lost River. And finally, the Sea Dragon. Oh boy, where to start? The simple fact that you can hear these guys through the floor of the Lost River is enough to make first-timers turn back. The second largest creature in the game, these lizard-looking Lovecraftian monsters will spit fire, smack you away with their hand-like flippers, or blow up your vehicles, leaving you with no air and no safety, and no way back to the surface. Unfortunately, I myself only find the Reaper Leviathan still scary, even though you can easily avoid them. I think that the Reaper sort of desensitized me to the general fear of the larger things that roam around in the dark. Nevertheless, this game is guaranteed to give you thalassophobia for at least a day. Thalassophobia, or the fear of large bodies of water, is mainly centered around the vastness and emptiness of the sea creatures, and fear of distance from land, and I can't blame them. Being out in the completely open ocean with only a blown up ship and 2 tiny islands for putting your feet on, and knowing you are completely alone on the entire planet, definitely gives me a bit of the chills. To be honest, I think that the story of Subnautica could have used a little work. Believe me, all of the parts fit together well, and some of the parts that didn't were just me not reading into it enough, but it feels like there should just be a little bit more, like the feeling that you forgot something when leaving your house. To summarize it up a bit, your ship gets shot down, you get infected by a disease, You have to save a species to get cured of the said disease and disable the giant gun that shot you down. And then build a rocket and leave the planet. Yeah, that's my summary. Okay, here's a bit more. You work at the mega corporation Altera and have been sent to the planet 4546b to build a warp gate. Basically a hyperspace stop in Subnautica. Your ship, the Aurora, gets shot down, and you eject into a life pod, crash landing into the never-ending ocean below. As you venture deeper, you start finding odd artifacts and structures, alien in design. You also get multiple telepathic messages that'll make you pee yourself the first time you get one. Eventually, you make it to the primary containment facility, the deepest and most secure of the alien bases. Inside, you find the Sea Emperor Leviathan, a creature even bigger than the sea dragons, inside a giant aquarium. When the aliens were here 1,000 years ago, they were trying to find a cure for the same disease you are infected with now. The Emperor produces a substance that can cure this disease, but she was so old that she could no longer produce it in enough quantity the alien needed. The Emperor had 6 eggs, which the aliens tried to hatch, but nothing worked. They were so desperate, they took one of the unborn babies out of its egg and studied it, but to no avail. Eventually, the disease was released into the world of 4546b, and the Emperor was left in the aquarium to die. Then you come along and help to hatch the babies, which then provide you with the substance you need to get rid of the infection. You then release the babies into the open ocean and build a rocket to escape the planet. This part is kind of sad, as the Sea Emperor literally uses the last of her energy to play with her babies before she dies. You do get a funny message on your rocket ride home, telling you that every material you use belongs to Altera, and you will be required to pay your 1 trillion credits before you land. Definitely my favorite parts of the whole game are habitat building and vehicle crafting. For the habitats, you can make them wherever and whenever you want, as long as you have the resources, most of which are surprisingly cheap to make. You can make a moon pool, which is basically a garage from your small vehicles, grow beds so you can grow any plant, anywhere, or nuclear reactors to power your habitat. For the vehicles, you can make a sea glide, which is a handheld propulsion device, a seamoth, kinda like a one-man submarine, a prawn suit, a mech suit with various arm attachments such as grapple arm and drill arm for mining large resource deposits, and the Cyclops, a giant submarine with space to build plant pots, storage space, aquariums, basically anything you can build inside of a habitat. And as an added bonus, you can dock either your seamoth or prawn suit inside of the Cyclops as if it were a moon pool, allowing you to bring them anywhere. Personally, I like to put a couple of fruit trees and a fabricator, which is where you can craft stuff, in my Cyclops. You can also make upgrades for your vehicles, like engine efficiency modules or torpedo launchers, but there are just too many to talk about in this video. Some of my favorite things to put in my habitats are water filtration machines, which provide you with free water, and battery and power cell chargers, which take energy from your base and use it to, well, charge your batteries and power cells. Not much to say on this part, but Subnautica does have a dedicated fanbase, enough that it was able to produce a sequel, Subnautica Below Zero. Below Zero is a lot like the original, except with more land and it's cold, to put it lightly, along with a bit of a better and more well-defined story. There are some mods that can be downloaded, like the multiplayer mod, which just sounds like absolute insanity, or the Gargantuan Leviathan mod. I think you can figure that one out by yourself. If you don't have thalassophobia, you should buy this game. It has extremely good graphics, which surprisingly doesn't put too much strain on your computer, and requires tens of hours of your time to complete. The resource gathering, traveling, and day-night cycle all take a bit of time, but it'll be easy to rack up 25 to 50 hours on a single file, and maybe hundreds on the game in general.